When do we start?
Right now.
What are we driving?
Hey, true, baby, I for the track. You know, take it to the top, and that's the truth. Truth hurts.
Don't even think about taking the convertible. It might loosen your moose.
No, that's cool. That's too much chrome for me anyways.
Damn. Where y'all confiscate these rims from, man?
What's happening, guys? Supernova here, back with another video. Something I get asked a lot is which PlayStation 5 am I going to get, and my thoughts on the two PlayStation 5 models. So to answer your first question, I can't really answer your first question because not enough information is known. Let's say, just for the case of this video, let's say hypothetically we knew the price of both, and spec-wise they were identical. They were the same exact machine. The digital edition just didn't have a disc tray, and they were $50 apart in price. I would 100% get the one with the disc tray. Even though I'm a digital-only purchaser, I would still get the one with the disc tray, because for me, the $50 is not enough for me to not have that option, even if I may never use it. $50 to have that option if and when I need it, to me is nothing. I will pay the extra $50. I will take the one with the disc drive, even though I will probably never use it, because at least it is there. Now, if the price difference is like $100, then I might be like, do I really need the disc tray? For $100? But even then, I probably still would pay the extra $100 to get the one with the disc drive. Now, this is a hypothetical where they both are identical spec-wise. Now, let's talk about a hypothetical where PlayStation comes out and tells us that the digital-only edition has a 2TB SSD. Well, that one instantly, in my opinion, becomes the premium console, and I'm getting the one with the larger SSD. I don't care if it's $50 more, I don't care if it's $100 more. I will buy the one with the bigger SSD, especially being someone who is a digital-only player. But it's because, to me, the SSD has more value than the disk drive, and the space on the SSD is more important to me than the disk drive, especially considering the fact that we're not going to be able to buy expandable memory for these things probably for a while. And when we can, they're going to be expensive, and even then, they are not going to be as quick as the SSD that PlayStation is making. Because we may find SSDs that have a read-write speed comparable to the SSD inside the PlayStation 5, and they may get that PlayStation stamp of approval, but they're still not going to be as fast as the hard drive inside of the PlayStation 5, because they're not going to have the 12-channel custom flash controller and the cache scrubbers and all the stuff that the PS5 SSD has that makes it why it's so quick. So I would rather pay extra money to have a larger SSD in the PS5 than pay extra money to have the optical disc drive. Again, this is all hypotheticals. It's hard to answer these questions because of that, because I don't know the price of these machines. I don't know if one's going to have more storage than the other one. I'm assuming power-wise they're all going to be the same. Like, we know that Xbox is rumored to have the Lockhart, and the Lockhart's going to be a less powerful machine than the Xbox Series X. I don't see a situation where the digital-only edition is less powerful than the regular PS5. I think power-wise, spec-wise, they will be exactly the same. The only thing I don't know is, will that space on the SSD be the same? Since it is a digital edition, and all of the games are going to have to be installed on the SSD, the PlayStation would make that SSD larger, one would think. But we don't know. So like I said, these are all hypotheticals, and it's really hard to answer that question. But if I had to try to simplify my answers to this hypothetical question, it's I would purchase the one with the disc drive, even if it's more expensive, unless we find out that the digital edition has a larger SSD, in which case I will buy that one, even if it is more expensive. Now, something I've also been asked is, do you think this was Sony's attempt to combat the possible Lockhart release from Xbox? And at first I thought that maybe that's what it is, but after thinking about it, there's no fucking way. because I can't see the digital edition PS5 being sold for more than $50 less than the standard PS5. There's no way that it's going to be $100 less. I don't see that happening. Especially if the SSD in the PS5 digital edition is larger. If the SSD in the digital edition is larger, then it will either be the same price or maybe even more than the regular PS5. So there's absolutely no way that having the two models was meant to combat the possible release of a Lockhart, because the Lockhart is rumored to be a underpowered machine. It's going to be a less powerful version of the Xbox Series X. One would assume that means it's also going to be less powerful than the PS5. So it's going to be quite a bit cheaper than both of those machines. So there's no way in hell that having these two options was done in order to combat the possible release of a Lockhart that would undercut the PlayStation 5. Now, saying that, I have no fucking idea why PlayStation released two different models. Like, I don't have any idea why they would have done two different models. The only thing I can think of is that the digital edition will have a larger hard drive. That's the only reason I can think of, is that there's a digital edition because they're going to give you the option of more space for sacrificing the optical disk drive. That's the only reason I can think of them, doing the two SKUs, because if they gave you the extra SSD space and the disk drive, then the machine would be way too expensive. I think this is their way of trying to keep the cost down for the consumer, because I think they know that 825 gigabyte hard drive is not going to be enough space for most people who are doing a lot of digital only purchasing. But in order for us to have our cake and eat it too, the machine would be way too goddamn expensive. So I think they capped it at 825 for the one that has the optical disk drive. For those of you who still use physical media, who prefer to use physical media, you're not having to install the games onto the hard drive. And then they will give us more space in the digital edition for those of us who do play digitally. So that way we can have the larger space and not have that increased price point. That's the only reason I can think of them doing two SKUs, because there's no way in hell it was done to combat a possible Lockhart, because that Lockhart is going to be much cheaper if it is a less powerful machine. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the two PlayStation SKUs and my kind of sort of answer as to which one I'm gonna buy. Well, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. What model are you looking at? What model do you think you're gonna buy? And which one do you prefer? And as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next Supernova.